Okay, how's it going, guys? Welcome back to another video. Stupidly, I forgot my magnet thing to put my mic on my t-shirt, so you're just gonna have to deal with it, unfortunately. But this one, I think it's really gonna help a lot of new guys starting out on the sales realm, especially with something like appointment setting or closing, for example. Anybody that's looking to get in the sales world, right? Whether you're already in it or you're looking to start, I'm going to save you a lot of time and a lot of money and a lot of frustration. Okay, so you probably heard when you are looking for sales positions, right, whether that be online or in person, you may have heard of OTE, okay, which is on track earnings. So when you look for a job, for example, in the sales realm, and you see these positions listed as 3 to 5k OTE, that means on track earnings, right? Now, what on track earnings means, well, it's exactly how it sounds, right? It's basically what you can expect to earn on the position working with them, okay? Now, on track earnings is a really great way to incentivize new salespeople. And it absolutely does work as well, okay? Because I've been on positions that have had OTEs and I've hit those OTEs. But on track earnings means you're going to hit this amount of money if you match our requirements, okay? If you hit our targets or our deadlines. For example, new clients closed. If you hit 100 new clients closed, right, then you can expect to make 5 grand. Now that is great, okay? And it absolutely does work. Like I said, I've been on positions where it's been absolutely fine. I have made the money that I thought I was going to make, but it's also a way to catch out new people, like new salespeople that are just starting out looking to get in this realm, especially with appointment setting, which I'll get into in a minute because that's what I do. But like it's a really easy way to get beginners that don't know what they're doing and are very new to the space to do free work or very, very cheap work, okay? Because a lot of these companies, there's a lot of people out there that run like online businesses. This is especially bad with online businesses, right? They'll hire for new salespeople or new appointment setters, for example, and they'll have OTE, like on track earnings of 3 to 5k a month. To someone that's 18, 19, 20, 21 years old, right, just working a 9 to 5 they hate and they want to get into this realm and they're hearing 3 to 5k a month, they're just blinded by that number as it is. They don't even like understand what OTE even means. And if they do, they go, oh yeah, that makes sense. And they don't really look any further into it because they're blinded by the number because it's so foreign to them, right? Now that's to be expected. That's the same thing that I kind of did when I was younger. But a lot of these companies will have that, but they are not in any position to be saying this at all, right? They can't be saying 5k on track earnings because a lot of these guys have impossible requirements, right? Because that's what it is. You have to match requirements to make that money. And a lot of these companies don't have any kind of right to be asking for these requirements. I'll give you a prime example. It could be something like make 350 cold calls a day, okay, and speak to a certain amount of people, right? It's just not sustainable. Okay, that's just like a little example. But let me give you more for appointment setting because I know a lot of the guys that watch the channel are interested in getting into appointment setting because it's the easiest way to start sales as a complete beginner. So with appointment setting, you will see 5k OTE. And what they'll say is, yeah, you can make 5k if you book 100 appointments a month, you have a 30% closing rate on your leads, right? On the leads that come through, you have a 30% closing rate on them, and every single one of them show up. Okay, so that absolutely does work. But a lot of these companies aren't in a position to be having these requirements. You have no idea if what they're selling even works and people want it, right? And you have no idea that people are going to show up for the call, or when they show up for the call, they're actually going to buy the product, right? So that's 3 things that are not in your control that your income essentially relies on, okay? You have no control over whether their company actually has a product that works or people even want. So the people you're speaking to try and book into a call, you have no guarantee that they even want it, right? So that's one thing. You don't even know if you can book the amount of appointments they're asking for because you have no idea if their product or their program or their business even works, okay? Especially new guys. You have no clue if they're going to show or not, right? If they say you need to have every single one of your leads show or 70% of your leads have to show, that's out of your control as well. You can get someone to book a call. Granted, they have let's say you have a good business, they have something that people want. You can get them to book on a call, great. But you can't force someone to show up, okay? You can't even force them to book a call. The most you can do, like have control over it, is whether someone books in or not, okay? But getting to show up is a different story. Okay, that's actually down to the business owner. That's not in your control at all. That is down to the business owner. The business owner should have a product that works and that people want, and also a good show up rate system that makes sure that every single day that books a call actually turns up. Because once you book the call, that's your job done. And then they need to have a good sales process for that every single appointment they book in needs to show, and then they also need to close, okay? So those are 2 other things, right, that are not in your control at all, that your income is reliant on. So let's say you go out and you message hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of people, right? And the bottleneck is that their company, just like their offer that you're selling, isn't in demand. No one wants it, right? So how can you hit these impossible requirements? You're wasting all of this time trying to get all of these people to book an appointment, right? Going out and finding these people, doing cold calls, whatever. And then your income is reliant on things that aren't in your control. It's such a skewed up model. Okay, so be very careful when you're getting into sales realm, especially with appointment setting, to be aware of these things. Do your due diligence on these companies and ask what OTE means in their case. If they say you have to have X, like, you get the point, you have to have X, Y, Z, right? You have to have all of these requirements to make the money, but the requirements are things that aren't in your control, then I'd run a mile, okay? Another prime example with appointment setting, pay per sale, or even like normal sales jobs. You'll get paid if we close the people that you bring in, okay? Well, okay, so I do all of the work, finding the person, right? Selling them on the offer to actually want to book a call. They book on the call. I've done my best to try and get them to show up, which again, you don't really have any control over, right? And then I've done all of this work for you. That work is done. Now I only get paid if you can close them. So I'm relying on your sales skills. You're relying on somebody else's sales skills for you to be paid. It's like, do you know what it's like? It's like paying the referee only if your team wins. How is that fair? Being paid for something that's not in your control. Like, just be very, very, very cautious of it, okay? Because a lot of sales guys, new sales guys as well, will hear 5K, be blinded by it. They won't understand what OTE means. They won't read the requirements. They'll get into it. They'll waste loads of time, and they'll be left with a bad taste in their mouth, and they'll want to quit the sales industry. So, anyone that's new to appointment setting or anybody that's new to the sales realm, just be very, very careful when you see OTE. And when you speak to someone that has such like a bold claim that you can make 5K a month, make sure they're an established business. They have an offer that actually people want and they can actually sell. They have proof that past salespeople that, the role that you're applying for have actually hit the OTE. And it's not just some like magic thing they've made up, right? And if they say, for example, like if you absolutely can't find anything, I never recommend to do this, right? Never get a pay per sale position if you're not the guy that's responsible for actually closing the deal. Never get that. But if you absolutely have to, get one of those just to get your foot in the door so you can leverage that experience to get something else long term. If you absolutely have to do that, then make sure like you do serious due diligence on the company that you're working for, okay? Because again, if you're going to go and book calls, right, and then if you're going to go out there, find all these people, book in appointments, get them to show up, which again is not in your control, but let's just say, for example, it is. You're doing all of this work to get them on the call, and then the guy that's taking the call can't sell, then you've just wasted all of that time and done a bunch of free work. And then at the end, you've booked in 100 appointments and you're on a pay-per-sale model. They've closed 0. You don't get paid. So you've done all of this work and they got paid nothing, right? That is like, honestly, going to a restaurant, right? And people serve you food. And you say to the person, you'll get paid if I like the meal. How's that fair? It's not fair, okay? So just keep that in mind. OTE can, a lot of the time, be a massive scam. So if you ever see this, or you ever come across a role that says OTE 5K, don't be blinded by the numbers. Just think, okay, that sounds great. And then you need to go deeper, okay, and see that they actually have a business that is like, actually has track record of successful and happy clients, has a product that people want, right? And also they've got a good closing rate and a good sales system and sales process, right? So that's the main things you need to look for if you see OTE. Don't be blinded by the numbers. Do your due diligence and don't be fooled, okay? So that's pretty much it. If you want to learn how to get into appointment setting, right, and change your life in the same way that I did, to the point where you can quit your dead end 9-to-5 that I know you hate and travel the world and go to places like, for example, I'll show you where I am right now. I'm in a very nice villa in Spain. So let me just give you a quick tour of the place I'm staying in. The interior is very nice. There's 4 floors, okay? There's a gym in the back, there's a pool, and it's just very peaceful, okay? And I'm allowed to basically do this and live the life that I want, right? For example, I came here, I traveled on a random Wednesday, I think it was sometime last week, Wednesday in September. There's a gym, okay? There's a pool over there. I'll show you that in a second. I'm allowed to do this because essentially, like, I don't have anywhere to be. No one's telling me what to do. I've got the money to be able to have the freedom that I want, okay, and be able to buy the things that I want and the time alongside it. And appointment setting has done exactly that for me. So this entire channel is dedicated to running you through how to do the same. And if you click the link down below in the description, it's going to run you through how I can one-to-one personally help you do the exact same a lot quicker than I did, okay? Now, if you want to click that link and you want to see how I can help, full transparency, it is designed to try and sell you something. So if you don't want to be sold to and you're not serious about living this life and, you know, making it work, then don't click it, because it is designed to try and sell you something. I'm going to be completely honest. But if you are serious about making it work, click the link down below, book on a call with me, and I'll run you through how you can live the exact same way with appointment setting and get here much faster than I did.